Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Kyle Wright 425 podcast. I am your host, Kyle Wright, and if you are enjoying the content so far, and if you want to see all the new uploads that are going to be coming out, you should be sure to hit that subscribe button and to also hit that notification bell. That way you never miss an upload, as well as follow us on Spotify. Eric, how do you feel about Silent Hill? I'm just going right into it.
So,
for people that like things that are straight to the point, we're starting this one straight to the point.
Funny you should ask. When you suggested, well, pretty much just said, hey, let's do this, which was fine. I mean, I don't care. I have played, I have seen, and I've Silent Hilled, but it's been a long time. It's been a really long time since I've played it. I've watched the movie. I don't know, sort of, kind of recent, but at the same time, I didn't really pay attention as far as like in depth. I know the basics, but
right
to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I remember playing that part, but I'm probably not going to really be like that.
Okay, fair enough.
I know that it was that game, between that and like Resident Evil, those games were, I think, slightly ahead of time.
Yeah.
Just because they looked really good, and the gameplay was before any of this kind of like Call of Duty kind of thing. It was like scary Halo.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, Call of Duty might have been out, but you know what I mean. I'm just saying, I just remember thinking, man, these games were pretty awesome. I just never invested in them and like anticipated, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I can just give credit where credit's due. So that being said, this topic tonight is going to be a lot of probably just like reaction and questionnaire, because I'm not going to really know a whole lot.
Yeah, I knew this was not going to be something that was going to be a mutual conversation piece as far as like, where we both know everything. This is kind of to blow your mind about a couple of things and to kind of, show you, the, just legendary status of this game and why I feel that it deserves to be talked about. Because this is something that changed everything that people understood about gaming and what was possible, essentially. It kind of has the very simplistic, very simple thing, and uses that simplicity well with the idea of like what you don't see scares you.
Yeah.
And their limitation ultimately was what did them the best justice. And that's what's beautiful about this game, is that it shouldn't have been a game that did well, but it did.
You don't think?
No, it's because it was just like the odds were against them, just like the idea of like how small the staff was and everything. But it found a life, gamers. It was just crazy.
Oh, what you mean like it actually being made, or just it surviving out in the world as far as being like a good game and people wanting it?
I would say both. Without a doubt. It is it's essentially what we're going to, look at is the idea of what inspired it. Or as far as like maybe if it was not an inspiration, at least it was like, hey, like there is a, there is a town that does exist that is like this. So, it's possible that it may have not inspired the actual creators of the game. There is a real life, like Silent Hill. That's really, really interesting.
That is really cool. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing to be able to be like, yeah, I live there.
Well, that's the thing. You ain't gonna want to live there.
Now,
it's pretty rough.
When you say iconic, like kind of video game, and I do talk about like it's before its time, kind of things like that. Would you put it up there with like one of your kind of favorite games?
Yes. And
you could probably tell me like the story.
Yeah. Well, this is what's complicated about this is that I only played the first, I think, like level and a half of Silent Hill 1. And the reason was because I woke up early on a Saturday morning and your PlayStation was hooked up out in the living room on Metzger. And I was like, dude, I'm like, oh, sweet, it's out here. Nobody's up. Like, I'm going to use the thing I'm not allowed to use, you know? So,
you little bastard.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I played the fuck out of that thing that morning.
I didn't care.
And I just remember opening up the console and it said Silent Hill. I went, oh.
I remember what you're talking about now.
Yeah, and I so I shut the play. This is the PlayStation 1. PlayStation 1. So, I shut the thing that looks like, a fucking griddle machine.
Yeah.
And I just turned it on. I was like, whatever. I'm like, I'll figure it out. I'm like, I think that was the first morning that I became a console gamer where I was like, no matter what's ahead of me, I'm going to figure this out because I had never really mastered playing a console before.
Really?
I had only messed around with playing like computer games. So, yeah, it was.
So Silent Hill was your first like PlayStation experience?
Yeah. So, I mean, you could argue, you could argue that, the N64 had a console quality to it, which I mean it did, but the PlayStation did something way more advanced.
What do you mean, man? You played Sega and you played.
Well, I guess when I say console, like what comes to me is I think of a more like advanced machine. That's kind of what comes to my mind. It's the idea of like, the 3D space thing, it's the idea of like, you have an axis that you have to follow around or you're actually moving in 3D space. The graphics then are complemented even more. There's physics, in some cases,
You mean like a PC quality type thing on a console?
Essentially, yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, so
like
yeah.
you mean like a high quality game.
Let's meet in the middle and say advanced console experience.
Okay. Now I understand. That's why I'm like, what do you mean you played other stuff? But I remember what you're talking about now. And what's so funny is that I had the PlayStation for a while at that point. Well, I mean, probably a year, because that was on the street we lived on prior,
right,
by Subway, and because I'd gotten it for Christmas, I believe, and I'm trying to remember how I got that game, but that's what I mean is that I didn't know what it was, right. And then when I played it, that's when I realized that there was like other games like that, but even when it was like remade and stuff, I wasn't like, oh man, I gotta go get me the copy of, right. It was just, oh cool. Oh man, it's at, GameStop used. Yeah, I'll snag it. It wasn't anything like on my radar big.
But you never like disliked it.
Right. That's what I mean. So like for you, that's a like an experience for you because that's like one of your first memories. So like I can understand where this is kind of like a big game for you.
Yeah, it's
like that's like me and Mario almost. Like that's one of my first true loves as far as like a video game. I've played other systems,
right? But
Mario was the one that kind of like got me,
right?
With every other fucking kid, but still, yes.
Yeah, it's there was something just special about that. Like I just remember that after that day, everything changed for me with gaming. Like I knew that I was able to progress in a game that scared me. And I was like, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to do this. Because the opening for Silent Hill 1 is so disturbing. It is, it hits the key of like, okay, we're going to give you the feeling of isolation where you have nothing. There is nothing around you, like, to the naked eye of like, what you can basically see, that's laying out in front of you. So you have to investigate things in these areas that are terrifying. It's like you're in a town that you don't know. You have to go into a portion of this town, whether or not it's because, every other, way is blocked off, or, maybe because this is the area that you thought you saw your daughter run to, but now she's gone. So it's like, it's this whole, like, level of scare that I experienced at quite a young age. And
yeah, I could see that.
I was so determined to get through it. I'm not letting this stop me. So
which one did you think was worse? Silent Hill or Resident Evil?
Honestly, Resident Evil was not something that I really got into until Resident Evil 4 and up.
So then you don't find them pretty similar?
Well, here's what I will say. I had a first time, PlayStation 1 experience, similar to Silent Hill with Resident Evil.
Okay.
And it was when I was over at Mike's place when I was super young. And I remember sitting in his bedroom, and he had like that, couch that pulled out and everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, you had this ability to like, just sit in there and just game for, hours on end. And I remember looking at the cover, and because it was like a double disc game for whatever reason. I think the other one was like, special features or something, or if it was like a special edition where like you could like play a longer version of the game or something. It's been eons since I've looked at one. So, dude, the beginning of Resident Evil was actually my very first console jump scare moment.
Really?
Yep. That's when I realized that video games could do that. I was like, oh, so this is a thing. So, because like whereas Silent Hill never jump scared me, it made me scared consistently. Like it was that whole like, oh, I don't want to go over here. Oh my God, no. Like instead of that, oh God, there's a turkey suddenly in front of me or something. So like, essentially, what got me were the dogs. When they jump through the windows, when you're they like the camera angles are fixed, so like you have to pull like back if you're seeing your character facing you from the other end of the hall, and it changed that perspective, and I was like, oh, so just pull this way, sweet, and I did, and first dog went through the window, scared the hell out of me. I actually dropped the controller and was like, what the hell just happened? And then I realized I was being attacked, and I went, oh crap, I got to play. That's right. I'm playing a video game. So, really like I was immersed. I was like, yeah, I'm like, I want to, play this. It's a horror game. I feel, like it's like, I feel important, but, it was a big thing for me when I was younger. It's like, I just never played anything like that. So
I think between the both of them, I mean, they're both like really, really intense, regardless of like movies and video game alike. I mean, both sides of it is scary.
Yeah.
And I think Silent Hill did a really good job of being, it wasn't like extra or not extra. It wasn't like big paranormal, but it did have that feel to it. And I don't know, like again, that zombie feel just doesn't always do it for me, like Resident Evil does.
Right?
How that's how it's like base kind of is. But Silent Hill, there was just something about it, and it was spooky. It wasn't necessarily like a horror in my eyes. It was spooky. It was creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made it worse. That makes a good movie.
Mm-hmm. When something is not completely scary, but you're like, God, that just gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like that's just it's
yeah.
Like, yeah,
exactly. Sorry, dropping shit. I try to keep my phone by me because here he comes. No matter where you put your phone, you can hide it.
He will find it.
Oh, that's right. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. I can put it in there. Yeah, he will step on the screen without fail. Anyways, so we kind of got off track there. Sorry.
Well, I mean, this is what I wanted. Is I wanted to be able to find some common ground first, like, because I wanted to know where you stood with Silent Hill, because I didn't know if it was a big deal for you, if it was a good experience, or if you were like, dude, like, screw this game, or like whatever. Like, I didn't know like where you stood with it. So now that I know that you are, somebody who has at least experienced it and does enjoy it, this is going to make this really, really cool.
Yeah.
So we're not going to dedicate a lot of time to 1, 3, and 4. We're going to spend a little more time on 2, due to the fact that I've only played 2 and 4, but I understand what kind of happens in the games to lead to to lead us to certain certain moments, and also certain like reasons for choosing certain characters to be in the positions that they are. So it's really kind of cool. Like, Silent Hill did something that I don't think any video game did yet. It added some depth to a story in the sense that the monsters themselves are built off of your guilt and subconscious.
Right.
So, for instance, some of the most famous monsters from the Silent Hill series is Pyramid Head, and then you also have the busty nurses that have no face, or their faces are ripped apart or whatever. You have so those are like 2 very, very big staples that you see will pop up in certain stories that have nothing to do with Silent Hill 2, and that's a problem because those were James's monsters. Nobody else saw those. And James was the only character that saw those, and it was in number 2. So it's interesting whenever you see other games use them, because it's like, no, that's not cohesive. Like, when they put them in the movie, I was really pissed off. I was like, dude, like, give me something that's actually what these characters are. Like, like this character is dealing with like somebody that they killed, they cut their throat. Like, every monster has a mouth on their throat, and like it has like teeth in it or something. And it's like, it needs to reflect that. So that's what number 2, and number 1 as well did really, really, really well, is that the creatures were terrifying. Even though now it is very dated, with the graphics, the concept still remains the same.
Well, yeah.
And so it wasn't. I mean, Resident Evil has a very, very good concept for how it creates its monsters. Whether it's like the certain kind of virus, or if it's a certain kind of parasite, it's like different forms will happen. But Silent Hill is personal.
But that's what I mean, is that it's got this. It's a different feel. It's not the same. Resident Evil is very zombie-like, as far as like the premise and like, what you need to do. Silent Hill is a whole other realm.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not, you can't even really compare them.
So that's what I mean. Like it's like paranormal, but like it isn't, and it's terrifying, but it's not horror, but it is horror, but right. It's like its own weird thing.
It's psychological. No, it's not. But it is psychological.
Exactly.
But I'm seeing all this horrible shit happen. It's like, right, but it's still psychological. Think about what that implies. Like, so crazy.
That being said, when it comes to things like that, that's why I mean, like Silent Hill. If I had to choose, I would take Silent Hill over any type of game like that.
Yeah, because it's what Silent Hill did really, really well was it made you feel like every move mattered. And because there's this concept of
I want to play it.
Right. It's this kind of concept of what Nitro Rad, who's a YouTuber that I love watching. He actually was my guide through the Silent Hill games. He played them all. And even like some of the ones that were only available on the Nintendo Switch, or not Switch. Wow, what's the one that came out with the wands and you could play it with your butt?
Wii.
Well, thank you, the Wii. Wow, let's see. I'd never even known one, so I don't even know. Couldn't remember what it was.
Was it the Wii? Probably the Wii U.
Yeah. So actually, that sounds a lot more like it. But yeah, he even played the game that Konami made that was specifically for the Wii. So like he's done all of them. So a lot of people only consider the first 3 to 4 Silent Hill games to be actually canon. The rest of them they do not claim.
So what is the latest Silent Hill game and for what system?
I believe the most recent one was Silent Hill Downpour, and I think that was for the PS3.
So they never made one for the 4?
No, the only thing that they made for the 4 was PT, which we'll get into a little bit later on.
Man, really?
Yeah.
So you can't get anything on the PS4 for Silent Hill. You can't buy a PS4 Silent Hill game.
No, you can't. No.
Dumb.
The only thing you can do is play PT on my PlayStation because I still have it. So
yeah, but it's not that long.
It's not, but I mean, it's still like if you don't know when certain stuff's coming, it's like, oh shit. But once you know everything, it's just kind of a nuisance to go through. But now this is coming from somebody that has played PT so many times and a lot of times by myself to find out all the secrets and stuff.
How long does it take you?
Okay. We're going to get to PT a little earlier because this is worth bringing up now. Have I ever shown you how to beat PT? Have you ever been in the same room with me whenever I've beaten it before?
I actually recall briefly it was you and Devin down here.
Okay.
And
oh, that's right. Yeah.
I don't remember what I was doing. I was dicking off doing something, but I heard you saying certain things and like showing him, and then he was going down and like answering phones and whatever and
answering a phone, but yeah.
But like that was it. And then I remember you saying like this is what you know how to do it quick or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't pay attention. So I know you did something or you knew how to do something, but
yes. If I remember to look this up, I hope I do remember it. But essentially there was a guy that figured out a complete guide to the end. He knew every single thing you have to do. And it has worked I think 10 times I've done it. So it's like finally there's a way to beat PT that finally is consistent, but it is completely unfair. Like ridiculously and probably the most impossible thing to figure out if you do not know. If you do not know, there is no way in hell you would beat PT. So I'm going to butcher this, but just to give you an idea of what needs to happen is that when you go through the final cycle of the hallway, you'll know that you're in the final cycle because everything looks normal except it's just dark and all you have is the flashlight that's white. And then it's because it goes through all the different colors of the PlayStation. So it's like you'll be able to see like sometimes green, red, blue, or whatever. But you go over, you look at the alarm clock, and then it will say 12, or it says 11:59, I think it says.
Yeah.
Or it's basically it's going to be ringing at midnight. And actually, I can't remember because I think it goes over to 1 a.m. actually now. Does it go over to 1 a.m.? Anyway, so basically it's you have 1 minute until the chime comes in when you enter the room. And because this shows how long it's been since I've played it, because it's like a fucking, like I said, it's a fucking nuisance to be able to finish it. But just to see that ending cutscene, you're like, God, what could have been? So when the bells go off for for when the clock, clicks over, you have to walk forward something like 10 paces, wait until the next, I think, bell ring or the baby laugh will happen. You'll make the baby laugh. And then you have to do like something like 3 steps back, stop, the baby will laugh again. And the problem is that some people can't get the baby to laugh again or even a third time, I think sometimes depending on it.
I do remember you saying something about that.
Then the next section of his instructions were very specific, and it left a link on YouTube, and it said, play this sound into the microphone when you get, I think, the second baby laugh. And it said, no, I'm not kidding. And what it is, it's a clip of Hideo Kojima. Now, this is worth showing you. Get a little warm.
Yeah.
There we go. This is what.
Did you like it? Did you like it? Did you like it?
So it takes you to a link where it plays that on repeat for however long you need. And it makes the baby laugh. And then you go over to the phone when it rings and you, I think, hit R3 and then you hear a voice that says you've been chosen and then you get to leave and the cutscene ensues. That's how you officially beat PT.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked
weird.
Up. It's fucked up. Like it's not easy to get through in the first place. So, but it's just, because it's, especially if you're someone that scares easy, like it's not a game that's easy to beat. And then you're trying to get through the ending and you can't figure out how to fucking beat it. A lot of people said that they ended up beating the game on accident through something. Like it was like,
really?
Yeah. It was like through like a bunch of different, machinations. One guy, swore up and down that if you said the name Jareth, that it triggered Lisa, who is the ghost in the game, to essentially like do certain things or to like make the phone ring or to do different things. Like it's, yeah, like there are tons and tons of theories on what went into, getting the true result of like the ending of PT. Because it's ridiculous, but that's Hideo Kojima. Like that's what he does. He makes games that fucks with you. But that was also
speaking of what game is this? This looks sweet.
Let's see here.
He's throwing shit with
let's find out
some like laser pulse gun.
Subnautica.
I don't know what that means.
Subnautica is is an open world ocean game where you have submarines and you have those like propellers and shit that gets you through the water, and then you have like a base and you have all that stuff. Like it's crazy.
Need it, Thor.
I think it's even like you have limited oxygen, so you can go as deep as you want, but you have to be sure that you can make it back up.
Really?
So, yeah.
So a game that you're like probably a diehard fan for.
Oh, fuck no.
So I'm gonna buy it just for you.
Please no. That would be horrible. If I literally had to play a video game where drowning was one of the main mechanics in the game, hell no. There's actually a drowning simulator that is on Google.
What?
Dude, I only played it once and I can't fucking watch it again. It's terrifying.
How do they figure that in? That's weird.
We're off topic, but I gotta tell you. So this is like
we might not even get to.
You'll be surprised. We'll get there. Holy shit! I'm gonna do this. Okay. It is basically first-person perspective of somebody that falls off of a boat into the ocean. The ocean.
You're
I fear. No.
Your biggest fan.
Fucking hate the ocean. So sound like Claw right now. So no. This guy falls into the water, and you have to keep scrolling up on the wheel on your mouse to keep him up. And the more or the less that you do, the more that he will start to kind of give up and go deeper. But the more that you push up, he keeps himself above water. And there's a couple of spots that he looks down at his feet and he's taking off his shoes and trying to keep his feet warm because he's freezing. And it basically is like, how long can you make it? How long can you stay?
You never
water?
Win.
No, it's just an idea
until you can keep going like this.
It was this idea like it was.
Man, I'll bet a lot of girlfriends tell their boyfriends to play that game a lot.
Why?
Really?
Oh my God. Really? I didn't think that. I thought you were talking from like the full like practical sense. I'm like, but why? Oh my God. Yes.
Get your mind in the gutter, Kyle.
I'm sorry.
You guys thought I was going to.
Mama raised me right. I'm sorry. Let's talk about Centralia, Pennsylvania. So
Yeah, Thor.
Let me begin my 4-part apology by saying that I think that you are a wonderful human being. So I'll cut that part out. Spoiler, I didn't cut it out. So
He won't.
all right. Let's see here. So the real life Silent Hill, Centralia, Pennsylvania. It is a borough, which is spelled Borough. And basically it says that it's near a ghost town in Columbia County, Pennsylvania in the United States. Its population dwindled from more than 1,000 residents in 1980 to 63 by 1990 and to only 5 in 2017. It was as a result of a coal mine fire, which has been burning beneath through since 1962. So the mines are that deep and they've been burning that hot for that long that it just they just won't stop. It's insane.
Where is it? Where is it located?
In Centralia, Pennsylvania.
Is like in Centralia or is it CE? Like,
It's CENTRALIA.
so let's see. The area is 150. Sorry, I'm reading that, but what I'm trying to do here is I want to see how far away that is from us. Anyway, so go ahead.
Right. I've thought about going there, but I also am pretty sure that it's very dangerous. So, because I don't know like how stable everything is that's there because everything's still burning. So it's like you never know like what's safe to go to. But
Don't be a wuss.
I got this thing about burning alive. It's not me.
No, I mean as far as like, okay, that's actually not too bad. It's about 5 hours. It's within a day's worth of traveling. Now you'll be exhausted, so you'd have to one of those like the next day. But that's actually not too bad. So just keep that in mind. Maybe that can be a bucket list one day.
I would like to at least go to the sign of the town or whatever and be like, hey, like we went to the real life Silent Hill or we did something.
No, I mean if we're gonna go, man, if we're gonna drive 5 hours, man, we're gonna walk that motherfucker. Well, I mean, at least a little bit.
This is how every scary movie starts, bro.
Yeah, but it's already been a scary movie. We already know how it ends. We're cool.
No. That's one of the worst things about Silent Hill. Once you enter Silent Hill, you can't leave Silent Hill.
Yeah, but that's Hollywood. Don't worry about it.
That's the game. I ain't going in.
We're going.
No. No, I'll just stay here and get some really good sizzling.
Everybody tell him, you know what? 30. If 30 people
30?
in a row has to say go, you have to walk into Silent Hill. Like walk in.
But it's Centralia, not Silent Hill. Maybe that's going to make it easier for me where it's like, man, it's not Silent Hill.
You know what I mean? I'm saying we're
sorry.
We're going to go there to the real Silent Hill.
So, real quick, this may not be a forethought as far as it being an inspiration for the game, but this does reference it saying that in like pop culture that basically that it was mainly to help. Let's see here. It says screenwriter Roger Avery researched Centralia while working on the screenplay for the Silent Hill film adaptation. So for the film, it had a lot of adaptation from the real world, but I don't know how much the game was inspired by that. It's just crazy that there's a town that's actually like that, and it's in West Virginia. So.
It's in where?
West Virginia.
Pretty sure it's PA.
What? You're right. It is in Pennsylvania.
I told you.
I literally just read West Virginia on there and was like, what the hell was that? Come on. Here, bub.
Somebody was knocking on the door.
Interesting. Might be the neighbors. Isn't it weird whenever people come to your house and you're just like, bro, like someone knocked on our door.
No, they didn't. Maybe they'll go away.
They knocked on our door. We should call someone. They need to know that someone is at my house right now.
Call the police.
No, we don't need to do that yet. But we will eventually.
Come on, bud.
No, but it's like, compared to what it used to be, which like there's company. Bring them in.
Like, nobody does that anymore.
No, there was a guy that had a whole bit about that. It was very much inspired by that. But no, you're right. It is Pennsylvania. My God. Literally was like, hey, man.
I just looked at it. It was like right. It's like right kind of next to Philly.
It's crazy. I literally thought that was another inspiration for it was the state. I thought that for the longest time. It's like a lot like a Java the Hutt. Java.
You thought it was Java, like coffee?
Yeah, it was Key Sanagato from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought you. Oh,
he's like, it's Java the Hutt, you fucking moron. Too good. Let's see here. So, to give you an idea of how many Silent Hill games that have been made, this says, let's see here, Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, and 4, The Room were developed by an internal group called Team Silent, a development staff within former Konami subsidiary, Konami Computer Entertainment Tokyo. The later 6 games, Origins, Homecoming, Shattered Memories, Downpour, Book of Memories, and PT, were developed by others. The Silent Hill franchise has expanded and to included various print pieces, 2 feature films, and spin-off video games. Silent Hill is set in the series. Let's see. Oh, it's set in the fictional town. Holy shit! Sorry, this is like really fucking weird. Silent Hill is set in the series eponymous fictional American town. I don't know how to fucking read. So
it's a lot of like big words.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
it's Wikipedia. This should be simple. No. So it says the series is heavily influenced by the literary genre of psychological horror, with its play characters being mostly everymen. So essentially meaning, because I limped through that shit, basically meaning that these people, excuse me, you can chill there. Just
move.
No, basically it's the idea that the people that are in this game could be anyone. They're not, the hot, jock. They're not, the cheerleader. They're not the, guy that's got himself all together and he's just bad shit's just happening to him. It's the people that go into Silent Hill are broken. They are somebody that's at maybe sometimes their wits end. They are people that have
fit in there just fine.
Dude, I've thought about it a couple of times about maybe if I'd end up in Silent Hill, dude. There's just sometimes that it's just like shit, man. It's like I could use a psychological shift, so
I could use a break.
Right.
Fuck. Break from reality? Shit.
He looks at Silent Hill as being a break. For just $1 a day, you can support this man.
Look at all the evil out in the world.
Yeah. No, seriously. I get you, man.
At least I know what I'm seeing.
Right.
Fuck.
This is something that I think that should lead into a passionate part. I want you to just take control of the crowd.
Let's do it.
The first Silent Hill game was that no. So starting off with Silent Hill 1. So this is the survivor horror game that didn't take the route, obviously, of that you have no defense, because weapons were very prominent in Silent Hill. It's just been variations on how you carry them, how many you're allowed to carry. Sometimes, the systems had a backpack kind of a thing. Other times it had a certain amount of slots that, would be considered your pockets, but in some way you could still carry a golf club. So, I mean, it's all those different things. But the first Silent Hill, while I'm not too familiar with it as far as the story is concerned, so basically to kind of justify what I was saying earlier, and a lot of these guys' names are in Japanese, so I'm not going to try to pronounce them.
That's fine.
Just take my word for it. I've done my research. I've read this. I've listened to the best of the best people talk about this stuff. So this is something that I love. Yeah. So just trust me, this is being portrayed accurately. The game, I believe it was the music, and it was the cutscenes were all done by one individual person doing each. And that's
each, or one did the cutscenes and then one did the music.
Sorry, that's what I mean. One person did the cutscenes and then one person did the music.
Okay.
And
still,
yeah, it's crazy. It's the quality of this game. No, and I'm taking back that music thing. See, now I don't seem like I'm that trustworthy. But regardless, what I know is that the game was 100%. In fact, I talked a big game before that. Like, listen to me, man. I know what I'm talking about. No, it's the game itself, as far as like the cutscenes and everything. Those were all textured and done by one person. And it's insane that.
How long did this game take to make?
I don't remember. But I know that Team Silent was kind of the underdog. Team Silent was very much like the group that, they were going to get this done, or it was going to, or just wasn't going to be, that impactful.
Do you think that this game kind of like series and stuff like that was just kind of like a fluke where, I mean, yeah, it was done very well, but do you really think that they thought they were going to make 5-6 games?
No, especially with the route that it took later in different stories. Like, there's no way they could have predicted this.
Because like you said, it was kind of the underdog.
Right.
And
I think that I think there probably were people that were just trying to pay bills. There's probably people that were, or either that, or they knew what they were creating and they were hoping that it was going to be to the top quality. I mean, there's also other people that could have no idea what they were working on. They were just working on another video game. But Silent Hill just took off. Like, it
really did.
It's the idea that the genre of horror was born in such a beautiful way, where the survival horror was just something that was done so well in that moment, and the way that it inspired so many other things. It's like where Resident Evil did as well, but it's like those were like the two games that just did a lot for the gaming community when it comes to that.
That's what I mean. Like they did something that I think a lot of other games kind of followed, even if it wasn't like a horror like genre game, because they had that go investigate, go do this kind of open world, and always had to like be alert around you.
Yeah.
You know, as far as like a campaign and stuff like that, because it was scary and whatnot, but that was refreshing about a game like that, where you literally had to be like, okay, scanning the screen kind of the entire time. Games didn't do that. Games weren't like that. It was, flashy light, jump, do this, hit that, collect coins, all this shit, which is great. We all like that, but especially like you said, Silent Hill, and it also had a unique story to it too. Like you were saying, it's people that are broken.
Yeah.
People see different things. People don't always experience necessarily the same things, but at the same time, you're kind of right. Resident Evil was more like the jump scare shit, which is great. We all like that. And Silent Hill does too. But again, going back to what I was saying earlier, where it's I don't mean like a sissified, but it was like not tame, but it wasn't as in your face like a quote horror. It was that weird genre its own. And man, I don't know. The more I keep talking about this and we're talking about this, it makes me want to play it.
Well,
so let's
Let me give you a little window into things. I'm going to skip to 2 real quick.
Okay.
Now, one, basically, some main points with that is that the reason why they developed the idea of fog was because the more foggy that it was, the less that the game had to render. So essentially what they did was that they used their limitation of what their engine could handle to ultimately their advantage. That's ultimately why the fog was implemented. And so it was like it was that whole idea of that struggle, like earlier, what I was saying, like it was just, like we can't render this much. How do we get through this? Like, do we make a first person? Do we make, do we do something different, that nobody's done before? Like, do we make this really simple? And it was, the beauty was in its simplicity. It was so crazy.
That is crazy. Actually, she's going to step on turn your shit right off.
Hey, don't be turning that off, man.
Yeah, no, that is
turn
crazy.
Off my laptop for anybody that's listening on Spotify. So
come to YouTube too. Again, watch it twice.
So, Silent Hill 2. Now, what I will say is that Silent Hill 2 has been renowned as a game that really set the bar for horror games because it did everything that number 1 did, except it did it better.
Okay.
So for instance, when I was talking about Pyramid Head and the Busty Nurses earlier, this is where they came from, was from Silent Hill 2.
Right.
Basically, the plot of Silent Hill 2 is that James is suddenly out of nowhere receiving a letter from his dead wife, who basically says, meet me at our favorite place. You will know where it is. So before Silent Hill went to shit and, the coal mines and stuff, started burning and, all the freaky shit started happening, it was a real town.
Right.
And that place was special to them. That's where they spent, a significant amount of time, or some really good stuff happened there with them, where it's like, that was something that was a really great memory for them. So that's what draws him back to try to figure out why he's receiving a letter from his dead wife. And the game, I believe, has 3 to 4 different endings, depending.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Depending on what you do, one of which, if you do everything either wrong or in a certain way, James fucking hangs himself.
Really?
Yeah, that is. It's rough, dude. Like it is insane. Like
now you can't go back and just replay that spot and then get the different endings.
No, depending on how you go through the game,
you have to play the entire fucking game again.
For instance, there is a puzzle that has, I believe, 3 music boxes. And depending on how you put the music boxes in will determine on the ending that you get, or the difficulty that you're on, depending on how you place them will also give you a different ending.
No shit.
So, there's also one where you're walking through a hallway, you're right at the ending of the game, and, it's a longer hallway, but you can hear the last conversation that James had with his wife. And it's being reverberated through the hallway. And
I don't remember which one I got. Yeah. Like I said, it's been so long. Do you remember which one you got?
Silent Hill 2.
No, I mean, which one you got, the ending.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought, because you said you would, or I correlated that earlier when you were talking about which game you had played. So the ending that I got was,
you remember?
James left with the little girl that he met in Silent Hill, and basically they showed each other the way out, I believe. The game gets super fucking weird, when you get to the right end, because the last monster that you fight is essentially his wife in a monster form. So when you essentially take her down, she's not dead. You're talking to her at the end. And there's a couple of flashes here and there in the cutscenes where he's smothering her. There's other ones where he's crying, so it's you're seeing all this, and from what I understand, no matter what ending you get. So it kind of gives you this demented moment of what the fuck did I just see? So
do you think it's cool, the fact that they give you different endings as far as how you play it? Because I always thought that was really cool when games do that.
That it's impressive. Not so much how Infamous handled it, as far as where it's you can only be good or evil, or so it's I like games that have
or Red Dead.
Yeah,
you're right.
Now Red Dead, for me, I feel there's so much character development that happens on both sides of it that completely surpasses Infamous. But
I'm just saying, as far as you're either good or bad.
Yeah, no. Now Red Dead did it amazing. I'm not going to say they did it perfectly, because I think that's a bold statement, but I think that they did it really, really well. Even with the first game, they did it really well. But no, just the whole idea of like the 4 different endings that you could get and like how, it was just, it was so interesting.
Yeah. I think it's cool when games do shit like that.
Now, Silent Hill 3 is going to be very, very easy to kind of skim over, mainly because I never played it. And also from what I understand, it's not a game that is crucial for moving forward in the series as far as like understanding things. But Silent Hill 3 is you play as a female, and you, from what I understand, have, let's see here. It is a survival horror video game developed by Team Silent, a production group with Konami Computer Entertainment Tokyo, and published by Konami for the PlayStation 2. The third installment in the Silent Hill series and a direct sequel from the first Silent Hill game. It follows Heather, a teenager who becomes entangled in the machinations of the town's cult, which seeks to revive a malevolent deity. It was released in May 2003 with a port to Microsoft Windows released in October of the same year and remastered in a high-definition version, which was released as a part of the Silent Hill HD collection in 2012 for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. Let's see here.
Well, I mean, Christy does have the 360.
She does. So Silent Hill 3 would, and actually, I believe number 4 as well is on the 360 as well.
Shit, I might actually go see how much they are at like GameStop.
So number 3, from what I understand, I know the movie took some inspiration from some things as far as like Silent Hill Revelations. Like it basically said that Heather, or the person that looked like Heather in the movie, because I've never seen Revelations because I was not going to waste my time. But essentially, was that she was actually the daughter of the guy in the first one. So it's like this idea of like, so we went through 2, we were with James, and now we're seeing the continuation, like we're saying like, okay, so like now we're seeing how number 1 kind of, moved forward with, not with the main character, but with his daughter, essentially.
So you didn't care for that one then?
I just never played it.
No, I'm saying as far as like, is that why it didn't interest you?
No, I mean, I didn't really have the ability to purchase video games and play them and do what I do now.
True.
So that's kind of the bummer about, at times like that. But I don't know. I mean, it's from what I understand, Silent Hill 3 is definitely is a loved game amongst, the community, of Silent Hill. But
these hold their value pretty well then.
How much is the one that you're looking at?
So like right now, like GameStop, this one is, oh wait, it might be all of them. This says Silent Hill HD Collection.
Yeah, so yeah, it would be all of them. So
it is all of them?
Yeah. Well, it's Silent Hill 1 through 3 for sure. I'm not sure if it includes 4.
I don't know. It looks like it might only be the first 2. Regardless, it's $25 used.
Oh, wow. That's not bad.
I don't know. Just for being a 360 game, that seems awfully steep.
I guess so. I mean, I look at that and think like, hell yeah. I mean, like, I would spend $25 for 2 Silent Hill games, even if it was just 2, and if it's 3, like, hell yeah.
I guess that is only $12.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, essentially.
So yeah, that is actually pretty cool. And then there is this one right here. This is Silent Hill Downpour.
Yep.
20.
Silent Hill Downpour is not that good of a game, unfortunately. It's kind of falls into the ones of like, ugh. Now,
Silent Hill Homecoming.
Now, what I will say is that Downpour's story is fucking cool. The gameplay and just the mechanics suck. Like it is just not good.
Which one would you, if you had to play Homecoming or Downpour?
Downpour.
Really?
Yes.
Homecoming sucks dick more.
Yeah, because the story is better in Downpour, in my opinion.
All right. Well, I'm just saying, like they still. Oh, Walmart. Fuck you. Hell, fuck you, GameStop. Walmart. Silent Hill HD Collection Xbox 360, $18.96. Boom. Yeah, buying that.
He loves it.
That's crazy. And just the fact of like, I don't know. I still feel, I don't want to say that that's like super expensive, but I feel like for being such kind of an quote outdated like, dude, the brand new Xbox and PlayStations are about to come out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those are still $20, 10 or not $20, but like $10-12 a game. Mm-hmm. You would think those would still be in like the $5 bin by now. I don't know. That just seems kind of steep.
I think that for the amount of game that you get, I think it's worth it. Especially,
I guess.
Especially with the next one, which is Silent Hill 4. Now, there are some people that do not consider Silent Hill 4 canon. They do not consider it to be a part of the games. They think that it is basically a good inspiration of what maybe could have been, but they feel that it doesn't follow some of the rules or whatever of like what would happen with a story that would take place in Silent Hill. Mainly because the main character lives in an apartment that's supposed to be like in New York. And the only way that he gets to Silent Hill is through a hole in his bathroom. Now, what's interesting about this is that just from just think about this, that you are this character, that this is actually happening to you. You wake up one day. You're a single bachelor. You live in an apartment in New York City, and you wake up on a Saturday or something. And when you walk out of your bedroom, you see your front door, and it is chained and locked shut. How the fuck are you supposed to work around that one? And you have to think about who fucking chained and locked this and where the hell are they?
Well, it's somebody that is really upset with you. Like, man, that should have probably been like a powwow sit down before that point. Like, they really are not happy with you at this point. So this is going to be a rough one.
Well,
did you ever figure it out?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It is crazy. There's no other way to say it, like how this game works and how it goes, about the whole deal. But I remember being on what was it? Yeah, it was on Mike's PS3. Or no, PS2, one of the two. It was on his console. And wait, so which one is this? Hold on a second.
4.
I'm trying to see what systems it was on. I can't remember. Was it a PS3? PlayStation 2. Okay, so it was a PlayStation 2. I had to think there for a second. But no. So, I was on this PlayStation 2 and I remember borrowing it from a friend of mine. I remember renting it whenever I could to try to beat it. Like, I just couldn't get the ending, and it was so scary that Mom wanted to know more. She's like, keep going. She's like, this is really kind of interesting. She's like, I've never seen anything like this. And I'm like, okay. Like, I kind of felt like it was cool. Like, my mom was digging this really fucked up game. I'm like, hell yeah. And
Mom gets down, dude.
Yeah, it was, this was a game that I just figured that she was going to be like, you need to turn this off. Like, this is like, I don't know.
How old were you?
I don't know. Maybe
probably 10.
No, I was probably about 12 at that point.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah.
I was 12 years old. Yeah.
Good.
But no, she was just like, I've talked about this game later in life, and I've been like, hey, do you remember that game, Silent Hill 4, The Room? She's like, oh God. She's like, I remember that game so much. She's like, even just the intro for that game was scary. Like, it was like the menu that you would choose, like, start new game or whatever. It sounds like a piano or like a guitar being detuned as it's being played, and it's like being retuned and detuned. Like, it is inconsistent. It is disturbing. Whereas some intros of the game, as far as like, when you set your controller down on the start screen and then something will ensue, like what you would see like when you first boot up the game. This is how I found out about this, and it scared the fuck out of me. I set my controller down, and went to either drop a deuce or do something that took a minute, because when I came back, there was imagery on the screen of the monsters. There were some cutscenes that were like being shown. There was some gameplay happening. There was some super like scary ass jump scares. Like it is, there's no other way to say it. It is fucking frightening. Like what you see in the imagery.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like I never got into them like that to where I paid attention that much, or like, I don't know that I really owned much more than like the first one or two.
Yeah.
I may have borrowed, you know, but I never really I never invested in them.
Right.
And like, that's unfortunate, because that's what I mean. Like now I want to go back and play them.
Yeah, I mean, now to be fair too, is that I was also very young. This is on an older console, so there could be a lot of this that was just like at that time. It was just really, really cool for the time. So I don't know if it will have the same impact. But as far as like for instance, there's a character in Silent Hill 4 that it is best that you stay away from them. You don't interact with them. You don't accept anything that they give you or they offer you. You walk away and you never do. Like it's that type of stuff where it's it's a character that is sitting on some steps in the middle of like this fucked up world, and he's got this teddy bear, and he offers it to you, and you have the option to take it or to not take it. So I figured it was for a puzzle. So I was like, okay, cool. So I took it. Turns out when you store it, because you don't need to carry it anymore, and you put it in your chest in your room, because you do go back to your room to save, which is all first person, but the rest of the game is third person. It's fucking crazy. This game is whacked. But so if you leave that teddy bear in your storage area, it curses it.
Man, see, you're telling me that, like, I don't remember any of that. Like,
it's now, I'll be honest, Silent Hill 4 is not a game that I will probably play again on my own, just because even the good ending or a really good ending is kind of like, okay.
Right.
Like it's not a good cutscene game. The main character, I don't know who played him or what happened, but he was doing a terrible job, or he was just either given just a really shitty piece of direction on what to do. Like, he plays a character named Henry. He's our main protagonist, and it's just like, okay, like I was never impressed by him, and I was always like, ugh, like I just didn't dig it. But the rest of the game is fucking great.
Right.
So, but it's just like he just like that character ruins a lot of the cutscenes for me, where I'm just like, ugh, man, it's just not good. But if it's any indication, even for Silent Hill 2, they did a version where Troy Baker actually did James Sunderland, like after they remastered it.
Oh, no shit.
So yeah, so I mean so Silent Hill 2 has gone through a couple of remasterings here and there and stuff.
Okay.
So
I was say I thought it had at least one.
I don't think it's had anything on like obviously like a PS4 thing or anything, but
maybe one day.
So I'm just gonna scroll through this real quick. Let's see here.
I was like, yeah, we're actually coming up on it.
Yep, we're coming up here pretty soon. Let's see here. It's gonna. I think right now we're at an hour and 8 minutes on my count, which will probably be like 55 minutes over on the other side too. Depending on how much we ranted before we got to this point.
Oh yeah, that is true. Well, no, I never mind. Go ahead.
Let's see here. Let's scroll through here. Oh, so something a little fun here. A fun fact about Silent Hill is that the streets are named after authors.
Really?
Yeah. So, for instance, I don't know if we'll recognize any of these, but there's Bradbury Street, Block Street, Matheson Street. Let's see, Levin Street, and then there is Finney and Midwich. So it's like all of them are.
Wait, what was the last one?
Midwich.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. You're a dick. So I got like really, really excited. I was like, look at that. So
fuck no, dude. Come on. It's me.
Hey man, I had some hope there for a second. So
I don't read.
It's good for you.
I don't read.
Number 7. Although we're not following a system of numbers here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where did the number come from?
Number 7. I don't know, what was it? And secondly, or thirdly, for those keeping track. Let's see here. Number 7. This says you can easily beat the final boss of number 1. see here. Throughout almost any video game, you will encounter several boss battles. They're meant to test you as a gamer and be the toughest fights of the entire game. That's often especially true of the final boss you face at the end of a story, but there's a simple way around the last boss of Silent Hill. It is the case where you're rewarded for a reckless strategy. If you meet the final boss and have no ammo, you're automatically going to win. When the fight starts, all you have to do is cycle through your weapons to show that you have no ammunition. The boss will see that and die on the spot.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's it's the last boss for that. It's a glitch in the game, or either that or it was it was done on purpose. Yeah,
dude, I'm buying it.
It's for Silent Hill 1.
We'll get it for the Xbox,
PlayStation 1, bro. It was on the PlayStation 1. It's that far back. Can't do it, man.
Well,
I wish.
I'll have to buy a PS1.
Yep. So it was foggy, so it could hide bad graphics. This says seeing things throughout the town of Silent Hill is incredibly difficult. The visibility lacks pretty much from start to finish. A lot of the game is set in darkness, but even the daytime scenes make it so you won't see much further than what is right in front of you. That was done for two reasons. On one hand, it added to the frights. You would hear things off screen you couldn't see, and the fear of the unknown is terrifying. However, the other reasons was that it was done to cover up bad graphics.
That's crazy.
The school that's in, I believe, school that's in number 1 is based on Kindergarten Cop. And it's got a really good picture.
What?
It's got a really good picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger there too. So let's see here. It says this will always be one of the weirdest things in Silent Hill history, and it isn't even something scary. Midwich Elementary School plays a major part in the game and is one of the most iconic settings of the franchise. If you pay close attention, you'll find that it bears a striking resemblance to the school of the 1990 film Kindergarten Cop. Yes, that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he played an undercover officer posing as a teacher is in Silent Hill. Some thought it was a small coincidence, but there's too much proof. The architectural design being nearly identical is just the start. Search and you'll find a school bus, medicine cabinet, and drawings on the wall that are all from the film.
That's fucking crazy. Okay.
Let's see here. Oh, and this says it's based on a real town, sort of.
Oh, okay. So, and then we already know that.
Right. So, but yeah, it did something, did something really, really cool, man. It was just,
I tell you what,
wow.
It sparked my interest to want to play it again. And I guess you're right. All things considered, it's relatively cheap as far as a game, but
right.
to get those. So I may actually look into that and see if I can, see it in the cheap bin somewhere. I mean, I go to Target and stuff, quite a bit. I got to go get this dude food tomorrow, so I'm going to be right around there. So I might check it out and see if it's even around. But
right.
Yeah, Silent Hill. Like I said, when you were talking about like this being the one, I was like, all right, cool. But now that like I kind of jogged my memory a little bit, I do recall a few things in my past with it other than the movie.
Yeah.
Now,
let me be clear too, is that Silent Hill, the movie, is a good film for two reasons. Was that one is that I think that it did a really good job with the representation of like the visuals of Silent Hill. I thought it made some really dog shit decisions in the story, which was one of them was they had the nurses be one of the monsters that our main character sees, even though she's not James Sutherland. So it's like, it doesn't make sense, but Pyramid Head is there as well. So they were like, these are iconic people. So we're having them in.
We're going to just have them in there.
It's like, no, like, how about you just make Silent Hill 1, make it consistent, and then get us hyped for Silent Hill 2, because that's going to have Pyramid Head. Like, this is not that difficult, so, but
maybe that's what you should do.
Hey, yeah, well, actually, I'm going to say one thing right now. I'm going to bring this out into light is that, I did have a movie idea at one point.
Pyramid Head.
For Silent. No, just for Silent Hill. And it was this whole idea. I'm not going to get into it because it's super, super dark. But essentially, it's going to open up a whole new conversation. And that's not why I'm bringing it up. But it's just the subject matter of it. Like it's intense. But essentially, you would follow a character through something that is horrifying. And when he finally makes it out of the other side, he looks behind him and sees the sign that says, "Welcome to Silent Hill." And it's like this idea that we didn't bank on that. We just made a movie where there was monsters and he was trapped and there was this, there was that. And
I remember that.
That's essentially the twist of the movie.
I do remember you talking to me about that quite a few times, actually.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where, some people, wouldn't get it. Some people would get it. Maybe it would actually spark people on to want to, check out the games or whatever, like where they're like, dude, this was in Silent Hill. This is crazy. It's like, well, no, it's like, this is, this wasn't, in the video game. This is the town itself is a character. So it's like, it's what it does to people, but, that's only one that I've ever wanted to do.
I do remember that now.
Cause I feel like there's so many stories you could tell in Silent Hill that haven't been told yet. Because like there's just so many things that you could have fun with, the beginning of Silent Hill Downpour starts you off because you play a guy in prison who's being transferred on a bus, and then it crashes, and then it crashes in Silent Hill, and you're the only survivor.
That's right.
So
I do remember that.
The opening of that game has you in the showers of the prison, waiting on whoever is about to come in, and when they come in with their towel on, ready to take a shower, you kill them, and that's how the game starts. And you're like, what the fuck? Like it's like one of them is I think one of them is like a either a hammer or something, and the other woman's a fucking like knife, and you have to use both of them on them.
Man,
it's brutal. So like I said, Downpour's story is awesome. It's crazy how it all fits together, but so you gotta try them out.
Maybe we will. Maybe we'll give a review sometime down the road, because, like I said, that sparked my interest. I would like to play some of these again. So we'll definitely have to see. But for being a video game kind of like based cast tonight, that was pretty good. It's still stuck with our theme that we're going for.
Yep.
So
yep.
I think after this one, what's the date today? Okay, so
I have no idea what date it is.
Well, no, I'm just thinking. Yeah, after this one,
17th.
Yeah, so we'll be after tonight. We'll be like more so recording Halloween type things.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's going to start coming out in October. So yeah.
It'll be good, man.
Well, guys, I mean, it was a little bit of different cast tonight. It wasn't so like animated and funny and things like that. But I kind of dug it. It wasn't so much. I was more kind of listening and just giving like my raw opinion. But I mean, that is a podcast. But but yeah,
that's how these things work.
I mean, it wasn't as bad as I thought, because I was just like, man, I don't know if I'm going to do well with this, but yeah.
You've done well with every subject that I've thrown at you. I mean, one of the very first things you ever did was try to figure out what phobia is just based on names, and that's completely unfair. So
that was fun though.
So yeah, I've been trying to find more things like that.
Yeah, so, that was definitely fun.
That gives me a reason to be able to use sound effects. It's just like, hey, I just flew in from New Jersey, and my arm's tired. Anyway, so cough. Yeah, so
hell yeah,
makes me want to use those and make new ones.
Well, so. We'll get some new ones. So,
but nevertheless, guys,
all right.
Hope you guys enjoyed the cast tonight. So, I'm really, really tired, and I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of here. And
it's late.
Just let like Father sleep. Just take me and be like, it's okay. Let's go to a place where
Mr. Stanman.
Let's go to a place where the only thing that exists is boobies and s'mores. Let's go. Like,
love it, dude.
So I don't know.
Hit like, hit subscribe, all notifications. You know the drill, folks. Come on now. We don't even got to say it. We don't even. You know what? He shouldn't have to say what it is. You know what to do. We all YouTube enough. You know what the hell to do. Like, comment, talk to us, guys. We want to talk to you, honestly. Mm-hmm. So tell your friends, share on Facebook, share on Instagram, share on any platform. We don't care. Just get the word out. We'll be back next week.
Do it, or Eric's going to eat an entire raw thing of liver. It's going to be horrible.
No, that's not a thing.
Oh, it's a big thing. You should feel really bad for him and subscribe. That way you can see, him not be miserable.
Fuck right off, because I'm not doing it.
No. That's the point. You won't do it. We're just making them think that you're doing it.
Now they know.
I didn't mute this in post, did I? Huh.
Later, guys.
I guess I got too busy. Interesting. My weekend was empty. Sorry. We'll see you guys later.